Hey guys, it's January 6th, 11:40 p.m. and I want to do a quick follow-up on UVXY. I've done a couple of videos over the last month or so. I want to do one final video, at least for now, to put a bow on this whole thing. So what you see here is the trade from the 29th of December. If you've watched the first two videos, or if you've been following these posts, you'll know that I talked about this a lot, and it was quite large and exciting for those of us who are interested in seeing some volatility in the market. It was the largest trade in a couple months, and it followed along with a pattern that was consistent at least through 2022 and probably before, where very large trades arrived at a relative low and we got some kind of volatility introduced into the market, and UVXY would rally for anywhere from a day to a week, or maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks in some cases. So I was anticipating that, and I went into detail about all this on the previous videos, which you're welcome to watch for context. Before I go further, I'm not sure who's watching this, so I want to put this out here. This is a chart of UVXY over its entire history, going all the way back to 2011. And as you can tell, it has decayed incessantly, almost since inception. I think during 2020, we got some spikes during the COVID crash, but for all intents and purposes, this thing is fraught with decay, and it is not intended to be held for very long. If you don't time moves with this on the long side exactly perfectly, you are very likely going to lose. So it is not something that you hold for any longer than necessary, and if it runs against you, it is not advised to stick around and try and claw your way back. It is a recipe for disaster. So, excuse me, moving right along. This is the chart that I had shown in the last video that demonstrated how we had this large trade in early December. We got some volatility, and the move ended up in this zone here, which was a resistance zone or a supply zone. If you recall, I drew some boxes. Anyhow, the price came down and entered in this demand zone here, this support zone, whatever you prefer to call it. Spike back up into resistance, spike back down into support, spike back up into resistance. It was a pattern that had been playing out, and when I saw this very large trade arrive at what had previously been support, it suggested to me that it was a buy and that we should see another move up and into this zone, or perhaps further. You never know. So TLDR, that didn't happen, as we all know by now. Here's what did happen. The very next day, we got some volatility here. We got UVXY moving up in a very sort of choppy, gradual pace, and it moved up to about 710 or 713, somewhere in there. It quickly retreated, which was somewhat disappointing, but not entirely unexpected, as we've seen the initial move off of these large trades sometimes come back and test the level at which they arrived, which is what happened. And you can see back here on the second, it did the same thing. It kind of chopped up, came back, tested support, and then the move began in earnest. So at this point, I wasn't too terribly concerned. I thought maybe we should even expect this, and then the next day we'd get a move. And that's not what happened. The next day, it gapped down, and it gapped down to an uncomfortable level, if you're long anyway. And it cast a lot of doubt on whether or not this was a buy. But we did get another move up that day, and there was some selling in the market, and UVXY moved up, and I thought, okay, well, this is a little unusual, but perhaps this is going to play out as expected. But it came right back up to this 710, 712, 15 zone, something like that. And it, again, quickly retreated and drifted all the way back down here, closed around 680. So not the expectation based on the size of this trade and the location of this trade. So at this point, there's one should be very concerned about whether or not this is going to play out as anticipated. And then you can see as we fast forward, this is what's happened since. It came down, and it's just been back into its usual decay forever mode, which is what you should expect out of UVXY. It will almost always do this, and then occasionally you'll get these somewhat sharp moves on the long side. So I tried this 3 times. I made a little bit the first time, I made a little bit the second time, and I lost a little bit the third time, and I've put this trade to rest. The best I can say at this point is that this was a short cover that perhaps had some relevance to the end of the year. I don't know. I do know that the rules have changed on UVXY for foreign traders. I don't know if that played into it. I don't know if it was something to do with end of the year or taxes or who knows what. Or if it's just a matter of clearing the books, that this was a short cover from any or all of these spikes up. I don't know. But it's difficult, to say the least, for me to expect this trade to still be in play as a long. It could have even been a short. I don't know, but I'm not playing this on the long side anymore, and I've moved on from it. I don't expect it to recover. Anything's possible, but we are now, I don't know, 8 or 9% lower, and it's been 5 or 6 trading days. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that any institution would have deployed that much cash, only to, or on the long side, I should say, only to let it get this far away from them. So it was either a short cover, or it was a short, or it was a, I guess it's possible it was a buy and they quickly sold. I mean, as information comes in, who knows if they bought and changed their mind. But in any event, I think this is over with and shouldn't be relied upon as a basis for taking a long position anymore from here. And the unlikely event that something happens very, very soon and price rebounds and exceeds this level and shows some amount of strength, depending on what the trades look like and what the outlook looks like, I may entertain giving it another shot. I absolutely won't unless and until it eclipses this level and behaves in a manner consistent with this having legs, i.e. not just some slow, grindy chop. It would have to be some kind of an impulsive move or something on the order of this move up here or this move up here. Certainly not these little moves here that do not amount to really anything. So that's it. Don't have much more to say on this. I will continue to watch. I always do. If UVXY prints big again, I'm sure I'll post it and try and provide some context. But it's a little disappointing because these have been quite reliable for a long time, and this is the first one I can remember that came in and really just disappointed and failed on the long side after such size had arrived. Especially given where it arrived. It really was a picture-perfect trade in the moment, just did not play out, and que sera. That's the way it goes sometimes. Anyhow, that's all I have. If you have questions, DMs are open on Twitter. Send me an email at info@volumeleaders.com. None of this is trade advice. I am not here to tell anyone what to do. I will tell you what I did, and I'll tell you my thoughts and my observations, but just, as always with volatility, be super careful. These things are really, really, really difficult to trade, even when you know what you're doing, even when you're an experienced trader, even when you have all this information and data to support your thesis. This particular ETF is a real pain in the neck. So, at least on the long side anyway. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Take care, guys.